You're listening to the Life in General podcast with Tom and Jaye. An hour of informative commentary on today's headlines, current events, and what's going on around the world and around the corner. And now, here are your hosts, Tom and Jaye Darden.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Life in General podcast with Tom and Jaye. This is episode 30. Hope you guys are doing amazing out there. We're going to start this off the way we do every single time, asking the man of the hour how he is down there in sunny Ecuador, down in paradise as some would say. And I think the tentative title of this episode will be Turning 30. That's going to have more meaning once we get on in the show, and then you can try to figure out how many instances of 30 that there are. So, hey, Dad, how are you?
I'm doing very well. Thanks for asking. Doing very good. It's a balmy 78 degrees down here right now with a slight ocean breeze. So it's nice and calm and cool and collected. We had to buy an African palm and dig a hole and replant the tree that the dogs ate, because the guy that we leased from is supposed to make a visit here this Saturday to, just to say hey and stuff. He lives in, I think it's St. Petersburg, Florida. I'm not sure. But anyway,
I was going to say, the guy doesn't live down in there in lovely Ecuador with all of y'all. So maybe that's a certain potential for investments for all of our listeners out there.
Hey, yeah, he's from here. And he owns this place. His brother owns the house next to it. His mom lives next door, and cousins over here, they own the whole block, so to speak, or the whole thing there. So I think he's just coming back to see his mom or his brother or whatever. So come on back. I don't care. He's got he said he had a condo in Guayaquil and then a condo in St. Petersburg and this place.
What does this person do or did for a living before they became a landlord / property owner /
I didn't ask him. But he's got everything is real legal beagle, and he's got, he had 3 copies of the lease, one for him, one for Pat, and one for me. And I mean, everything was down, you could tell it wasn't his first time. We didn't even sign a lease the last place we were. It was just a handshake and a kiss, basically. No kiss, just a handshake. But
I was going to say, you are on record and online, so just you be careful now with what's going on there.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting. That's something that a lot of folks my age nowadays, unless they either got lucky or have made really good decisions in their early parts of their life, it's something where property, that's the thing to have now, right? Because
yes. Yeah.
Unless you run into the government having eminent domain or something of that nature where your property is seized, that's where it's at, because you can just have people build on it, whatever they're going to build, whether it be residential, whether it be commercial. Then you just sit back and collect, right? There's not too much needing to be done with the property from my limited experience and knowledge with that sort of thing. And it's kind of crazy, but definitely a good investment. So
We met with a guy, you've been down here, and we met with a guy that lives right behind the mall. There's a street that runs behind the mall, and he's probably 100 yards, 150 yards off the beach. And he's been living there for 17 years, and he rents. And he said that place was for sale, and he's talking 50 or 55,000. Oh, wow. And it's got 4 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms. And then it's got a side house, a little small side house that somebody could live in. I didn't go in it, but we were in his house having lunch. And I mean, it was big, real big, flat, all one level floor space.
Like a ranch out there a little bit.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Well, I was going to say, cool. It might have 3 bathrooms, but I think the theme song down there is Matchbox 20, right? Because all their rooms are teeny tiny, at least their bathrooms.
Yeah, that's for sure.
They definitely are not made for Americans.
That's right.
That's what we say.
That's exactly right.
But that is, I don't know, that's something else. And it's something that I think several folks are kind of looking into maybe for retirement purposes, in terms of that's what we want to inherit. Don't give us any money, or if you're going to give us money, make sure it's enough so we can go and buy a property.
Buy a property, yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That is it.
That would, I don't know about inheriting property down here, unless you just wanted a summer home or a beach home or something like that, and you came down here. You know, a lot of people do that. They'll come down here and stay for a month during the summer or during the winter, wherever they live. They'll come down here and stay.
Our winter or their summer, because that stuff's
exactly.
gone. But well, moving on to our first topic here, something that you wanted to throw out there is in our show notes here is the KR or Kyle Rittenhouse thing. He was found guilty, not guilty on all charges. So let's move the hell on to more important issues. There are plenty. So something that I thought was kind of interesting there is, well, now you have to have the whole show. It would be something if, okay, he was found guilty on XYZ charges, he's get put away, and then you have the court version of the media continue on. However, it was interesting to see the juxtaposition of how the media somewhat flipped on what they were saying about him. He's not guilty, so then it becomes defamation instantaneously if they ever say anything bad about him. And he might turn out to be, I forget what the young kid's name was.
Nicholas Sandman.
Sandman, yep. Good old Sandman, where Duder's never going to work another day in his life because that's called defamation, and you can't ruin a teenager's life because you're trying to make a point. So
yeah, he sued CNN for like $200 million or something. And Rittenhouse will do the same thing, but they need to just let it go. The guy's going to file it. He's going to get his lawyers. He's going to file the lawsuits. He's going to have more money than anybody in the world. And he's going to, more money than we'll ever have. And he's going to get those through the lawsuits. But, you know, you got gas at $7 a gallon in California. You got a border crisis. You got a supply chain crisis. You got the thing going on up there in Wisconsin or Minnesota, wherever it was, where the guy ran through the Christmas parade with his car. You got more bullshit going on. Shut up about that. Yeah, shut up about that kid and move on to something else. You know, I mean, really, just shut up about that and move on to something else. That's like Trump. Trump's gone. It's been a year and a half, almost 2 years.
I don't necessarily think that Trump's gone.
He's gone. He's gone. Now, I don't know if you're a supporter or not. Don't care. It doesn't matter if I'm a supporter or not. But everybody keeps referring back to him. He's gone. He's out. Let it go. Move on to there's so much other stuff going on. Critical race theory with your children in the schools. I mean, and your political races that you have going on. Vote all these jackasses out. Vote them out. If you want term limits, vote them out. I'll say it again. I'll say it every
episode, man. Let's do it.
Every episode up till November of next year. Vote their ass out. Okay. Moving on.
Well, what was super cool about that point was I was going to tell you to name some, and you did it without skipping a beat. So thank you very much for doing that.
Well, I've got a question for you. And I saw this popped up on one of my news feeds today, and I've started to shrink my news feeds after the deal, the trial, and all that. I've started to shrink my news feeds because the same shit over and over and over every day. We talk to his next door neighbor. We talk to his mammy. We talk to his
echo chamber.
Okay, well, good. I don't want to hear it. Okay, if a parent is killed by a drunk driver, should the driver have to pay child support for their children?
No.
Why not? The parent's not there to take care of them.
I've seen this with a YouTuber that I watch or have watched in the past called Vosh. He has a very interesting kind of take on we've spoken on pro-choice stuff a little bit before, but he references that to, let me ask you this question. If you put somebody in a coma in a drunk driving accident, should you like stay with them for the entire time that they're in that coma or that they're put out?
I asked my question first. You can't answer a question with a question. What are you going to do? Handcuff them to the bed while they're in a coma and they have to stay there until they
so
wake up?
The point there is most likely, if somebody is killed in that instance, and let's say it becomes vehicular homicide or manslaughter, whatever it's going to be, they're not going to have the means to pay child support anyways, because they're most likely going to jail, right? Or they're going to go to rehab, depending on the situation. They might go to jail. They might, I mean, if they got off, it's a scenario where that's a slippery slope, my friend, because what you're doing
Well,
at that point,
I just thought I would ask, to see,
well, it's going to become a scenario that says you're going to have so many people in court. Like, what you're doing in this instance is you're just creating more court and more animosity, and something where you are putting more time and man hours into the court proceedings, because not only do they have to go through the trial of, okay, Joe Blow's parents got killed in a drunk driving accident, but then the person's going to go back on appeal every chance they get to make sure they don't have to keep paying for this child, where whether it be an accident, whether it be on purpose, whatever it is, a lot of the times, at least from my understanding, I could very well be wrong here, you don't have to pay that sort of thing back. And it's something where they can sue you. And if that's the case, fine. I don't know how they sue folks in that way, but it is something that can very well happen. Where, who was it? Baum, he was suing the city for $10 million, right? So is that what they do? Do they sue the city at that point? And then you're having taxpayers, if they do get any sort of amount of money there, the taxpayers are having to fit that bill anyways. So it's like, do we want to really have that? Especially if some guy goes or gal goes to prison after they did drunk driving or vehicular homicide or whatever it was. I mean, it just, as the Riddler would say, it's too many questions.
Okay. Moving on, since you brought up taxpayers, I had another news feed come on that said Biden, Slow Joe's helicopter ride had to be postponed because a $217 million taxpayer military helicopter was deemed unreliable. Now they're talking Marine One that he rides on. Yeah. $217 million helicopter?
Mm-hmm.
Get the boop out of here, man. I mean, really? And the Pentagon Department of Defense deemed it unreliable and wouldn't let him get on it. You paid for that helicopter, $217 million. Does that come with a reach around or something? I mean, what?
It
I
does.
mean,
it
really,
comes with a giant hand that just comes out and scoops.
I guess I don't know, but I thought that was just ridiculous, man. That was just ridiculous.
That's a very fair point. Now let me ask you this, kind of as a follow up to that: do you want us to decrease our defense budget, our military spending?
I don't want you buying a $217 million helicopter. I know they don't cost that much.
That's not what I asked.
No, I don't want you to increase your military budget.
I didn't say increase it. I said decrease it.
No, I don't want you to decrease it. China's fixing to invade Taiwan because they're cruising. They're cruising every day. China's cruising our battleships and our aircraft carriers and our destroyers. They're cruising them every day in the ocean over there. They just shot off another hypersonic missile, and this one had something shoot off out of it. When it was going up, it had something that shot off out of it. And several military guys have said this needs to create a sense of urgency with the military, because China's over here just shooting hypersonic. You got about 30 seconds notice before it hits you. Just letting you know, that's part of the 100-year marathon.
That's definitely something us millennials kind of look forward to, is a quick end. If it's going to be an end, let it be quick.
Yeah, well, it will be. That's for sure.
Okay, so you don't want us to decrease the budget, but that's where that comes from, right? The Marine helicopters, all of these aircraft carriers, all of this and all of that, because if we look at the way that budget is laid out, there are certain things that are just inflated to hell, right?
It's waste. I didn't mean to knock you off your stool there, but it's waste. It's government waste and has been for years.
I agree.
Okay.
So, with that being said, if it is waste, then how do we fix that sort of thing? Because what's going to happen is the powers that be are going to conflate those issues, right, and say, why are we spending $200,000 or $200 million on a helicopter? And then people are going to say, well, do we not want to protect our commander in chief, or do we not want to do this, or do we want to let the foreign military powers just walk all over us? And then that becomes an even crazier debate.
Drive his ass into Suburban wherever he's going. He ain't got to ride in a helicopter. You do know that when he goes up, there's 3 helicopters going around, so that you don't know which one he's in, so it doesn't get shot. So it doesn't get shot. Oh, that's a true story.
I'm not saying that you're wrong. I do love the fact that if we have one very expensive helicopter, we have 3 just to make sure.
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Yeah. I bet the other 2 are just a shadow. They're probably just a shell, and they just look like the other one. I bet they don't all cost that. Okay.
Could be. But I mean, that's something that even at that point, right? It's trying to keep those that would threaten our democracy in this instance, or threaten our democratic republic or our way, and try to get things knocked off track. Well, you can't have one without the other, right? You're either going to have the military spending the way it is, or we're going to cut it all across the board, and then people are going to lose their minds because you're going to have an instance of, well, now we could be invaded. And it's like, well, just because we went from $1.1 trillion to $800 billion, we're going to all just die in our sleep. It's that sort of thing that seems kind of crazy to me, where all of those gigantic bills that they bring out, where they have spending, and it's spending everywhere.
The way you control that is you vote all these assholes out come November, and you get new people in that are going to start at the Department of Defense, and the FBI and the CIA start at the top and start cleaning people out.
But it's something
that's how you do that.
Even if you the problem is this: if you do not get rid of enough people, the folks who are left are going to be the ones who educate the new folks, and then you have the bad cycle all over again. It's going to be really difficult to, air quotes, get somebody out, clean out the proverbial swamp here, and then have things move on, because unless you drain it completely or to the absolute max that we can without just collapsing everything, not a whole lot's going to change, if that makes sense.
Well, speaking of elections, Beto O'Rourke.
Beto, good old Beto.
Who would name their kid Beto? I mean, did his parents hate him or something? I mean, that reminds me of Philo Beto on Clint Eastwood played him on Any Which Way is Loose or whatever. I mean, come on, man.
Any Which Way is Loose. If I can find a clip of that, I'll make sure to cut it in.
He was in 2 movies, Any Which Way is Loose, or Any Which Way You Can, or something. He was in 2 different movies.
Clint Eastwood was in more than just 2 movies, I think. But
no, I'm saying of that series. There was 2 of those Any Which Way series,
like another Dirty Harry sort of thing.
This guy's running for governor of Texas, and he said if he gets elected, his first legislation will be gun confiscation in Texas. Are you kidding me? But then I did a little more research, and I found out that this guy has run twice before and lost.
Yeah.
And no means no.
That is something I did see on one of the news feeds, or one of the shows that I watch, is I believe it's a native Texan who I believe looks Hispanic. He goes up to Beto, and they start off their conversation politely and whatnot. And then the guy just straight up tells Beto, like, get the blank out of here.
Hey, Beto, they don't want to let me take a picture with you, man. I just want to shake your hand. Beto, I'm Robert.
Robert, you're my tocayo.
I'm native Houstonian.
Thank you for being
On
here.
behalf of the ranchers and oil and gas and farmers.
Yes, sir.
And Maxine Waters.
Oh, yeah.
I'm in your grill telling you don't come back.
Okay.
We don't want you here.
Thank you.
All right?
Thank you.
You said it was good. Thank you. Get the hell out. You ain't taking my guns either. You ain't taking my guns. Don't even try to get your hands.
Don't come back. Good luck trying to take my guns. And it was just something that Beto just kind of said, oh, well, thank you for your input and all this, because it was just
take your name off the ballot. Save those people in Texas a lot of trouble and take your name off the ballot. That's just stupid. I mean, that's just completely stupid to come across.
Stupid. No.
With millions of people and millions of guns. Yes, it is stupid because he's going to legislate gun confiscation from. Okay.
I don't know. That was a little rude. It is stupid.
It is stupid.
Well, how about this? How about I campaign to be a governor? Okay.
Okay.
And then when I campaign for governor, I get to take advantage of all the campaign finance laws and revisions.
Okay.
Then I get to have bukus of donations come right into the old pocket there. And then I'm like, man, I lost. What happened to all my donations? Oh, well, they went towards the cause. And then I'm like, as I sign my checks and then fill up my coffers, it's something where it's a political move that it's not necessarily dumb. This person might just be playing the long con and just says, you know what I'm going to do for the rest of my life? Just like Daniel Tosh said with Brett Favre, I'm going to keep playing. Oh, I can play, Brett Favre being Green Bay Packers former QB for those out there who don't know. Daniel Tosh's joke is, I'm going to keep playing. Oh, I'm going to have to be second string quarterback, but I get X amount of money. I'm going to keep playing. Oh, I get to be practice squad and I still make X amount of money. I'm going to keep playing. So the joke here is, and the point being, not necessarily that you won, but if you play the game, you've already won.
Coming back up there and running for office.
Good luck. They'll be like, where has Tom been for so long? And then somebody will say, he's been in Ecuador. He ran off when the getting wasn't good. And then people will be like, oh, that's where he's been.
Oh, and now that things are better, he's coming back.
There you go.
They ain't better.
Oh, I was going to say, yeah, I'm not sure if people would say that they are better with the current administration or not, but it is kind of interesting. Something that I do want to bring to light here, because I thought it was mildly humorous, was your notes for the Beto O'Rourke thing was written like a Zoomer, where everything was shorthand and everything was abbreviated, and you were using PLZ for please and UR for your and all that. And I thought it was very comical that the roles reversed a little bit in terms of who's the millennial / Gen Z, and then who's the boomer. And then in this case, I most definitely was feeling boomer status there, because
maybe the boomer exploded,
yeah, that's it. But speaking of boomers, I'm getting up there now. I'll never be a boomer just because of how the generational thing was. But you did have on here talking about birthday stuff, and you asked me how mine was. Well, last week, kind of over this weekend, we had a good time, and by we I mean myself and whomever celebrated it and whatnot. It was pretty fun. Hanging out at the house, going out. And
you can name names. You can name their names unless they're wanted or something. I mean,
everybody's wanted it if you know us. So that's it. But I don't normally do things too big anymore for the birthday. For one, until you hit like 40 or something, it's not going to be too crazy. And of course, I just turned 34.
And then you don't want anything at 40. You're like, shh, I don't know.
Well, I mean, for me, it is what it is. I don't normally do a whole lot of crazy stuff for the birthday in terms of trying to get anything together or organize a whole bunch of stuff. One of the reasons being, I'm not sure. I don't think you've ever eaten at the restaurant Virago's, which is down in Nashville. It's a Japanese fusion restaurant. Amazing sushi, fantastic dumplings. They have stone steak, all sorts of super cool stuff. And we tried to go down there, myself and 2 or 3 of my buddies. And they valet park everybody for free as long as you're going to one of the 4 restaurants down that street. And we get down there, and the guys are going to valet us. And they ask, "Are you with this party?" And I'm thinking to myself, it's my party. I mean, I am trying to have a party here.
Right.
And they said, "Oh, well, it's so-and-so's birthday." I can't remember their name. And they rented the entire restaurant. Whole thing.
Oh, holy crap.
This is a place where, like, per person, you're going to easily drop like $75 to $100 easy. I mean, and that's lowballing it.
Wow.
And I'm thinking to myself, I need to go become friends with these folks so I can get in there and be like, it's my birthday too, you know, have me, you know, in there for birthday stuff. But that was freaking crazy. And we had to audible to somewhere else that was just kind of like meh. And then my buddy had to bail right afterwards. And I'm thinking, all right, enough of this. I'm just going to hang out at the house and just piddle. But yeah, I mean, it was cool. I mean, you get older and then not too much else happens, right? Like, unless you have little ones or significant others or whatever, and then you're growing together and stuff like that, or people are growing up around you, it's kind of like, all good. So,
right. I just wondered what you did or what became of it.
Nothing too special. I did take off on Monday of this week to make sure, as you pull up a Mr. Potato Head, that's very exciting. Did you have to bring that down there with you, or did you have one? Did you find one?
No, I brought it down here with me, but they do have
Senior
they do
Papas?
have them down here. Yeah, they do have them down here. Yeah, I just wanted everybody to see that's my Joe Biden bobblehead. So
yes, Mr. Potato Head indeed. So
yeah, that's for sure.
But yeah, so super fun there. 34, nothing too wild and crazy. One of the things that was super cool, having to do with 30 something, we did say this was potentially turning 30. I did have a buddy of mine, or do have a buddy of mine. They turned 30 over the weekend. And speaking of 30, he was our 30th subscriber when he turned 30 on his birthday. So,
yay!
Fun little segue into that.
The like button and
smash the
subscribe
like button,
and
hit the bell. Comment down below if it's your birthday
That's right.
or when your birthday is. And it was super cool because we actually went from 25 subs this past week to 30. So that's what happens when you hold people at gunpoint, right? And say, look, you need to subscribe. As somebody put it on one of my favorite internet shows, it's like, comment, and survive, which as opposed to like, comment, and subscribe. Yeah. It's good stuff.
There you go. That's it.
That was a fantastic one all around. And something that I've learned, I have a lot of chums or friends who made me realize Valentine's makes a lot of babies, because I myself am a Valentine's baby. They, 2 of the people who were with me over at my place on this past weekend were Valentine's babies, and it is hilarious.
A Valentine's baby.
Right, because if you're born in November, you have a pretty good chance that you were conceived right around the time of Valentine's Day, if I've done my math right. And I thought, oh, well, there
Valentine's Day, the 14th of February, and you're born the 17th of November. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Mm-hmm. All right. That's why we become Scorpios. Right. We all become assholes because we were born out of a fake holiday that's just meant for selling stuff and promoting love. Right.
Right.
I thought that was kind of humorous, and I'm thinking, oh, that's why Scorpio is around that time, because that's kind of what's going on. People are getting in the mood or they're bored in the wintertime, and then
Oh yeah,
cue
well,
the
okay, yeah, yeah.
cue the
Come here,
silly music and
baby.
stuff.
Yeah, there you go.
But
My
super
my
cool.
birthday's January the 2nd. I miss being born on New Year's Day by 32 minutes.
Well, bully to you. Should
That's it.
have pulled
Exactly.
you out of there and had a C-section or something. Be like, surprise, he's here.
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly right.
That millennium baby or whatever the heck it
My
is.
my dad was mad because I wasn't born in 1953. He wanted me to so he could get the tax deduction.
Wow.
He was mad. Yeah, it's pretty sad.
I was gonna say he would
Pretty
be a fun
sad.
one to have on the podcast there to tell
Oh,
some
yeah.
of his wild ass stories.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But we're glad he's not. So at least I'm glad he's not. So
Well, yeah.
there you go.
There you go, indeed. But yeah, thank you all so very much for sticking with us and the new subscribers for joining us and whatnot. It is super cool that you're all here and that you are willing to put up with our shenanigans, because that is definitely what they are, is shenanigans out there. It is super cool.
Well, I have to tell you, the Santa's Forgotten Heroes. Okay, that was what we started 10 years ago for the veterans home in Gallatin. It's across the street from the Legion on South Water in Gallatin, behind the Old Glory restaurant. It used to be a hotel.
Yep.
And so that's where they have like 30 rooms over there. And so we started collecting things for the veterans like 10 years ago. And at first it was pretty funny because it started out with just one bag from a Dollar General bag with a pair of socks and a stocking cap and a toothbrush and stuff in it. Now it's just, it's out of control. That is, they've got all the veterans spoken for, and that's going to happen on the, do you have a calendar in front of you? I think it's the 19th of the 18th or 19th of December. It's always the Saturday before Christmas.
It's the 18th then.
Yes, the Saturday before Christmas, and anybody that would like to come by. Then the cool part about this is, you get to give whatever you want to give right to the person. You get to give it right to the vet and say, thank you for your service. Because these people have sacrificed so we can do what we're doing right now.
Right.
Instead of an angel tree or Salvation Army or ringing whatever, and everybody gets to trim something off the top. This doesn't work that way. You give it right to the person that you bought for, and you're able to give it to them. Well, Channel 5 came out and did an interview with one of the ladies that's organizing it and heading it up and doing a lot of work. Yeah. And Anita Williams and Jeff Williams are our contacts in the States for getting all this together and stuff. And I think Nick Barris came out, or somebody from Channel 5 came out and did an interview, and that'll be airing soon. Probably after Thanksgiving. Yeah, because there's a lot of people doing Thanksgiving stuff. So I'm sure it'll wait till after Thanksgiving and then start airing Christmas stuff. That'll be pretty cool. Because this is the 10th year that we've been doing it. So yeah,
that's a long time. I mean, for actually keeping anything going, that's an incredibly long amount of time, right?
Yeah.
And it is great that you were able to create something with help, right? It wasn't just you or any one person. It was something.
It was
together and was able to keep it going even when somebody bailed out. And it was super cool.
Well, Patricia keeps up with all of it. I don't know how she does it, but she does a great job every year putting it all together and getting people to sponsor the vets. You can get a vet and you can sponsor them. And she had forms made up that they pass out to the vets, and it's got their name and it's got their sizes and things they need, things they want, something they'd like to have, that Santa brings them. And so they fill out those forms, or they can just put their room number on it. They don't have to put their name, but they get all those back. And then when they get their sponsors for each one, then they pass them out, and people have a list of things that particular person wants. Plus they've got a Cub Scout troop doing a paper drive. And then they've got they've got a Sunday school class doing a food drive. And there's a lot of people like Michael Shaver Plumbing does. He brings a case of bottled water for each room, Yeah, so there's a lot of people that are pitching in and doing a lot of hard work there.
Do you have something set up or a PO box or something where people can actually send things to?
It's it's a Facebook page.
Okay.
Santa's Forgotten Heroes.
Okay, that's something
Okay.
that give me that address of the Facebook page, or have Pat send it to me, and I'll put it in this
Okay.
episode on the part down below where we type everything out, and we can actually get people from now until when it goes on, or till a week before or so. We can have
Yeah,
that link out there for.
it's like 3.5 weeks until they pass everything out, and they also have an Amazon wish list. So people that
That's
can't
cool.
participate or whatever,
Mhm.
Anita has set up an Amazon wish list so if people can order things and have it sent to her house, and then she transports all of it to. They have a packing day, and so they get it. Somebody donates a big room. One year it was at Wendy's in Gallatin. One year it was at the bowling alley, and they get a conference room, and then they get these boxes set up. And they go down through there and they put one of everything in the box, and then they get the next thing and they put one of everything in the box. And it's really cool to see that, because they'll have 25, between 25 and 30 boxes, depending on how many people are there. They'll have these boxes lined up and they just go box to box,
That's cool.
putting stuff in each one. Yeah. It's really amazing to see everything that's come together over the years, and how this is, several years ago, it was it only took one pickup truck and a trailer. Last year it was 2 pickup trucks with flatbed trailers, like 16-foot
Good
trailers.
Lord. Wow.
Yeah, to put these boxes on. The Gallatin High School band, Mr. Earl, the band director, he gets a select number of kids that donate their time, and they come out and they play Christmas songs and military songs and stuff out there in the parking lot and stuff. Yeah, it's a big deal, man. It's a big deal. It's been a good deal for a long time. So this is the 10th anniversary, the 10th year that it's been happening. Yeah. Yeah.
Have there been veterans that you've given to who have been there for all 10 years? Are y'all keeping up with that at all?
I'm sure there have been. I don't know. Pat keeps up with all the names and all that kind of stuff. She has a spreadsheet. And it's got all the names and the people that are there, and the people that have been there. And I'm sure there probably have been people there for 10 years. I don't know. Yeah. Because I was very fortunate. I kind of helped start it, and then I played Santa Claus every year. So I was real fortunate. All I had to do was put on my suit and stick a pillow in my jacket and go, ho, ho, ho. And I just walked from room to room, ho, and ho, 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 and I walked from room, ho, 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 room to room, and thanked them for their service, and passed out candy canes, and did the Santa Claus deal. I hope there's not any young kids listening that say, "Wait, I thought Santa Claus was." Yeah, okay, I'm just a helper.
Worry. We put this on not produced and made for children, so it's
parental guidance suggested.
Yeah, it shouldn't go to any children's.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Pages and whatnot.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I'm just a Santa helper. That's it.
Something that was pretty incredible. One of my cousins actually sent me something either after they subscribed or after they watched one of our podcasts. They then got on their recommended page was one of our episodes, and that's something that's pretty cool. That means kind of the algorithm is kind of putting us in the right direction in terms of it just honestly suggesting this to folks if they're subscribed or if they're not. And it was something where I think we have our SEC or SEQ, I forget what it is, but it's search engine criteria, something like that, where you only have to search, I think it's Jaye and T, and then it pulls up our information, which is awesome, right? Because we want to make sure that we're catching, as my buddy would say, very eloquently when he was surfing on Tinder or Plenty of Fish or whatever. You got to cast a wide net. So we luckily are able to be a little bit ambiguous, but it's something that
We ain't fishing.
Well, hey, we're fishing for them views and them likes and those comments and all that stuff. So
Yeah, hit the like button
Yeah,
and
that's
yeah,
it.
smash, subscribe and smash.
YouTube
And,
overlords, are
yeah,
you pleased yet? Do you like us enough?
yeah.
And that's something that I just thought was incredible. And they sent me a text, and of course they're watching YouTube on their TV, and it actually has us on there, and that is just wild to me. So it's something that was super cool, and hopefully it never kind of loses that magic, if that makes sense, where
Right.
we don't ever become cold to
I know.
the fact that it is something that is kind of special that we're able to do this and communicate weekly and be with you all out there. It's something that is just, honestly, it's absolutely unfathomable.
Well, to me, it was your idea, and it was a great idea, and it was a way for us to communicate every week. And neither one of us are ever been at a loss for words. So
Amen to that, bro. That's for sure.
I thought it was a great idea, and you said, well, plug this in here and plug that in there, and turn it on, and we'll talk on Wednesdays and see what happens. And it's like, this is really cool.
Yeah, it's something that would be pretty interesting. And if we're able to get any footage from the Forgotten Heroes thing this year, we'll see if we can kind of make a little special dedication in one of our videos to a little clip or a little slideshow or something like that for when that actually takes place, which would be awesome.
Oh yeah, there'll be some stills and some video for sure.
I need to get the old gimbal out, which, if you all don't know what that is, that's where it is a camera holder that keeps everything level.
Power to the camera, some that have their own dedicated app, and others that are purely mechanical. There are magnetic camera gimbals on the market, but almost all of the ones readily available are very light, very easy to use, can be balanced
all the time, right? It's something that's pretty cool, and I haven't been able to use it for anything of note, but that would be pretty cool to get it out there and get some video and some pictures and stuff like that. That'd be super sweet. So
right, cool.
Yeah, that'd be something else. Something that either you said or I heard somewhere on one of the shows that I watch is that the White House presumably said that Biden's going to try to run for 2024. And that's something to me that just seems interesting. And I'm thinking to myself, where in the world do we see ourselves in 2 more years or 2.5 years? And what in the world is that going to look like? Because I've heard from a lot of folks online, you see people on Reddit or slash political or politics or whatever say that the Democrats don't really stand a chance, and nobody's going to vote for Biden and Harris again. That's just not going to happen. It was something where they were a necessary evil to remove what some would call a greater evil. And then at this point, it'll just be something where that's not going to happen. You're going to have one of the rare instances, kind of like with Trump, where you don't have a president who goes back to back, right?
Right. He's definitely a one-term president, that's for sure. Now, I don't know who's going to run in 2024. They don't want to tip their hand too early, which I think is pretty ridiculous. I think you ought to start campaigning now, and but maybe they want to see who controls the House and who controls the Senate come 2022, because it still gives you, 2 years or whatever to do whatever you're going to do. But man, I hope they smoke them in 2022 and just clean everybody out. What I want them to do is I want them to get all the old timers out. Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi and all the old timers that have been in there. If you've been in there 10 years or longer, your ass needs to go. 10 years long enough. And these 20 and 30 and 40 year guys, Bernie Sanders, get out, man. And the people need to vote them out, because they haven't done nothing for you all these years. They haven't done anything for you. So why let them just keep skating, man? you've already got the squad in there, and then they're all young, so they're going to keep skating. Nobody's going to get rid of them because they're pouring the Kool-Aid in everybody's glass, hopefully, so that somebody would get rid of them, but I don't see it. But, I just think they ought to vote them out, man. Vote them out in November and replace them all. Get a younger generation in there, and they can be in their 40s or 50s. That just get the 70 and 80-year-olds and them people out, man. Golly. If you've been in there longer than 10 years, I think your ass needs to go, man. That's just me.
Something that comes with a little bit of nuance there is you want somebody who knows the system well enough to be able to maneuver it well in terms of getting what needs to be done. Now, to that end, you also need to make sure you don't have lifetime or career politicians. So there is a fine line there.
Sure.
There is something about also not letting money take over politics, which has just kind of run rampant, right, for quite some time.
Right.
And it's something where I'm not 100% sure if it is a First Amendment problem where you have a company or a person, sponsor, or whatever, who wants to give these people money, because when it comes down to how policy is generated, which comes through oftentimes the hands of politicians, that seems as though that's not a First Amendment issue. That should be something where either the people vote on it or it's something that money just shouldn't be the answer. And sadly, it is. I saw something online recently. My buddy and I were having a conversation about it, where the American dream or the American way now is no longer trying to solve everybody's issues. It's making enough money personally so those issues no longer affect you. And that just floored me. I'm like, oh, yep, that's exactly right. Because this person's dream, which to each their own. If your dream is money, awesome, and you want to just kind of live in this la-la land of never having to look at your checkbook or bank account or whatever and just do whatever you want, hey, more power to you. I don't think that'll be a fulfilling existence in the end, but it's something where if you can say, hey, I had a good time, and you move on, okay, that's totally fine. That's your prerogative, and life is what you want to do with it, and luckily it's totally up to you, because we live in a country where we can make those decisions and don't have to worry about this, that, and the other, like in several other countries. And it's something that, hey, it's all gravy, baby.
Right.
But, yeah, that just really kind of hit me pretty hard. With, we're not trying to help anybody. I mean, overall, as a society, it seems more that it's me. And then once we hit a certain level of income or power, some would say, then you don't have to worry about it.
It's every person for themselves nowadays. It is. Nobody cares about anybody else.
Well,
it's sad.
And something to that end as well. There's a lot of things going around online, and that had been for a hot minute, where it says certain things are only illegal to you if you're poor. What do I mean by that? I'll see if I can bring up a meme of it or something online where it kind of lays it out. Because these friends who would have rich buddies, the rich people would say, oh, it doesn't matter, I'll just pay the fine. Well, to the person who doesn't have any money or has less money, that's not easy for them, right? They can't just simply pay a fine and move on and not care about it. So even to that degree, I mean, reform needs to happen where you're not just paying fines for certain things and then people can get away with certain stuff willy-nilly and then certain people can't. I mean, life, I understand, is not fair to a large degree, but it is something where people need to exist in the same way that everyone else does.
Right. That makes sense.
I just thought that was kind of interesting with when it comes to income and when it comes to opportunities and when it comes to this, that, and the other. I mean, luckily we do, well, I say we, me and the mouse in my pocket, myself and several other subscribers live in one of the greatest countries in the world. But to some people, it doesn't feel that way, which is, to me, is very interesting.
And and I was talking to Pat about this the other day, is, it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. So the oil fields that they've shut down, or the pipelines that they've shut down, why can't they just crank those back up? Who's going to stop them? Nobody in the Biden administration's got any balls. So what are they going to do? They're going to hold a gun to your head and say, you can't flip that switch to make that fuel run through that pipeline, or I'll shoot you. They're not going to do that. So why don't the people just go back to doing what they were doing? Flip the switch, let the oil flow, let the crude oil, let the natural gas. Can't drill here. Watch this. I just don't understand why some people just don't take, and it's not taking the law in your own hands. I don't want it to be misperceived, but you didn't, there's no law saying that I can't drill. There's no law saying that you just made a stop, and the sheeple went along with it and flipped the switch and stopped the oil from flowing through. I don't see why they just don't flip the switch and start letting the crude oil and the natural gas start flowing again. It's just like picking up the guns, like I talked about in Texas, and going down to the border. It's going to be on you. It's going to be on the people of Texas to stop that, because they're coming into your state. They're coming into our country, your state, and you're going to be the ones that feel the wrath of the caravan coming through. I don't get it, man. I don't get it why people don't. I don't understand. I don't understand.
Well, it could be a few reasons. And we've discussed the oil pipeline thing. And remember, you don't have, you can't just say, hey, one state do this and then one state make another do that in terms of the pipeline and all that. It takes a coalition. It's a collaborative effort. So if somebody says, I'm not going to do that, but two other states say, well, but we're going to do it. Okay, well, then what do you do with the oil when they say it's going to stop right here? And then if they make
call them out on it. Call them out on it and tell them you're trying to move the oil. I know, but you call them out on it and say, well, the oil's going to go this far, but then they're not going to be a part of it. So your gas is going to stay $5 a gallon.
All right. That's fine.
I don't buy gas, so I don't care.
Well, hey,
I don't have to buy. So
how exciting. You can take a bus and public transport and taxis and all that stuff everywhere, which a lot of people would then argue that we need public transportation.
Electrica
or public transport or whatever you want to call it, there are alternatives. And it's something where, okay, let's say, just as an example, let's say that the top three states, what is it? Wyoming, Montana, whichever ones are up across the top border.
Right.
And then let's say that Montana wants to do it, Wyoming wants to do it, but then Wisconsin doesn't want to do it. Let's say that's one of those states up there. You don't have a map on me right now. But let's say that one of them doesn't want to do it, and they're right in the middle. Okay, well, the states are calling them out on it. Well, okay, the people who run that state don't give a shit about what state A and state B means. And then if you ever got into the point where it would become like state warfare or things of that sort, where they start either levying taxes or say don't trade with these folks or whatever, then you'd have another Brexit situation. Nothing good has come of that, right? We've had several instances that I've seen online where you have a lot of buyer's remorse for Brexit because they got out of the European Union and then now they're having restrictions put against them. And it's something where we're the United States of America. We don't need to call out other states, because if the federal government does make certain provisions and make things either illegal or whatever, then they have to adhere to it. Now, if they do want to go to the table and try to make things work that way, then maybe they can. But also, do you know what they did to make it so they couldn't drill and do all this? I mean, some of these lands are protected by either wildlife organizations, or potentially they might be indigenous peoples, locations, lands, etc. And it's something where, sorry, you can't till my field, man. You got to move on. And it's something where
Some of them were fields that they were already working in, and they made them stop working.
Yeah.
But I saw something interesting. I saw a news clip where the energy secretary, they asked the energy secretary, how many barrels of crude oil does the United States use in a day? And she didn't know. Now you're the energy secretary. That's basic. That's basic.
Okay, so how many did we use then?
32 million.
Wonderful. Did you have to look that up, or did they tell you?
No, they told them. They told her.
Right.
They told her, dumbass, because she didn't know. And it's like, that's Energy 101. What are you doing with your spare time?
Maybe they are looking.
Got any
for
spare change?
Spare time? You got a spare job? What makes a spare change? Maybe, just maybe, they're focusing their efforts on alternative sources of fuel that don't pollute and that don't endanger folks and don't do
and the windmills in Texas froze up last year during the winter and wouldn't turn because they were frozen.
Right. And how often is there going to be a friggin' snowstorm in Texas?
But it happened. It happened. You didn't take that into consideration. It happened. I mean, what if it's cloudy and you've got solar and it's cloudy for a month? Or what if the wind doesn't blow? The wind doesn't blow and it's cloudy. You're screwed, man. You're screwed with all this new Green Deal energy crap.
Well,
I ride an electric vehicle.
Yeah, you ride an electric scooter, man. Like, give me a break. Your name's at John
plug it in the
wall. Bottom of the Green New Deal because you're like, I have an electric scooter.
I plug it in the wall.
How wonderful.
Where's my electricity comes from? Well, down here, there is a hamster in a wheel down here.
I have no doubt. Yeah. Or if you get uppity, they put you in the wheel themselves. That's
right.
Right? That's what's going on there.
So I told you about the guy that took you to the airport, the cab driver. I told you somebody hit him, right?
Yeah, you showed me those photos. That was kind of wild. I'll see if I can.
It was a drunk guy on a motorcycle that slid into the side of his, and he's got a car that's like this big. It's like you've been in it.
Oh,
it's like a Chevy Aveo or something, or a Aveo's little brother or something. It's the smallest thing in the world. But this guy slid into the side on his motorcycle and was drunk, and his peg poked a hole in the passenger rear door. He's got a hole about the size of a 50-cent piece. And wow. Down here they arrest him, and he told him, he said, don't arrest him because you'll arrest him and take him to the penitentiary. And right now down here, they're rioting in the penitentiaries, and the gangs are slitting people's throats and killing people and burning stuff. And
wow.
They've got the military have surrounded the penitentiary to make sure it doesn't spill over out into the streets.
Why are they doing that? Do you know?
I don't know. It's gang control. It's gang war in the penitentiary. So I don't know, but he literally told them, I don't want you to arrest him. And the guy literally walked away after the crash. He walked away, and now our buddy's got to pay to get he's got insurance because he financed the car. Of course, it was a 2020 or 2021. It was fairly new.
Right.
And, but that's how he made his living. It's cab.
Yeah. He's a cab driver. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's running
DC cab.
Yeah. It's a gypsy cab. It's not yellow with a light on top and all that. Yeah, these guys flip their lights at you when they're coming down the road. They flip their lights, and if you wave, then they stop, pick you up. And so, yeah, they don't run under the same regulations or have to trim off any money and give it to the dispatcher or whatever the other guys have to do. But yeah, so now his car's going to be in the shop for a minute getting fixed, but he had insurance on it, so yeah, he's put it in the shop to get fixed. That'll be a minute.
That stuff is no joke, man. I mean, they're moving and grooving out there. Those cab drivers, they're
oh yeah. It's out of control, man. It's crazy. I was gonna buy a helmet cam because of how many times.
That'd be cool.
Well, because of how many times that the transit police had stopped us. They were setting up roadblocks and stuff, and they were pulling people over because they were trying trying to get money from them. They were extorting people for money. Well, because they've pulled us over like 3 or 4 times since we've been here. Well, since they came through and said now they can't pull you over. When they pull you over, they have to tell you why they pulled you over. They can't pull you over unless you're breaking the law or have broken the law. And they're working in the budget for body cams for the patrolmen. So you don't see these guys at all anymore, man.
I have no doubt. I mean, it's.
I mean,
they've.
It's like the light came on and all the roaches scattered. That's what these cats have done. They've just, and we had a truckload. She was riding on the back of my scoot, and we were going into town because she buys something she can't carry on the bike or something. And we bought a shop vac is what it was. And so she takes a cab back home. But this truck, this transit thugs pulls up beside us, and there was 4 guys in it. And they went alongside of us for a little while. And then it's like, never mind. That's the heavy duty gringo on the white electric, and he ain't giving us no money, so we'll go on. Wonderful. And then they sped up and went on after I mean mugged them.
They just call you heavy duty out there. That's it.
Yeah, heavy. I'm healthy. Yeah, heavy duty. So,
como se dice heavy in Espanol, amigo? You've been practicing Spanish?
Grande. Grande means large.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I am large.
Grande. Yeah. Grande hombre. Yeah. That's
grande
me.
Hombre.
Grande hombre. Yeah.
Wow.
That's right.
Smokes.
Yeah. So you don't hardly see these guys. You'll see them at intersections in downtown, but you don't see them much on the bicycles. You don't see them much on the motorcycles, and you very seldom see them in the pickup trucks now. So yeah, it's really pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. So I might not get the camera at all. If I do, it'll be just so I can film how crazy the driving is, because you've seen it. These guys are insane.
I was going to say you should get a little cam, and then that's what we'll do on on the weekends or something, or even have a little segment like at the beginning or the end of the episode, is we can just put in a little super cut of you riding around through Ecuador and kind of give everybody a little tour of Ecuador there.
I can do that.
Put in some little stock music, right, where it's royalty free, and
hey Mo,
we don't get struck with all that silliness. So
right, that's right. I can do that.
That'd be wild.
I can do that.
Something that last question for you before we peace out, unless there's anything else you want to talk about.
Easy now. Go ahead.
So, if we were to get a sponsor, who do you think the very first one would be?
This is where the crickets come in. I have no idea.
Okay, well that's fair.
I don't know. I don't know who'd want to take a chance on us, as crazy as we are.
Take a chance.
We get a little off the rails at times.
Well, it is something humorous, and can't wait to see how that shapes up within 6 months of now, and see kind of where we're at and whatnot, and then be like, it's time for an ad break, and then and then people, like, we would either have pre-recorded ads. I have seen that on some podcast where people will do their normal podcast, and then what happens is in the editing portion of it, they put in the snips of the ad, and it's not something where you're going to have to read it. A good example is Ben Shapiro. He just reads it as he goes. There's no cuts or anything like that. He just, okay, cool.
Yeah, I was going to say, you better be listening. Yeah, you better be listening to 600 words a minute, because that's the fastest talking guy that I've heard in a long time.
It most certainly is. Well, and it comes down to, is he speaking correctly or speaking quickly because he doesn't want you to really understand or get it? Or is he speaking quickly because that's just kind of how he talks?
I haven't listened to, and this is me admitting, I haven't listened to one of his podcasts in probably 3 months.
Yeah, it's been a minute for me as well.
And I don't have any particular reason why I don't, I used to listen to Dan Bongino every day, but he says the same shit over and over and over. So I didn't listen to him for like 5 or 6 days, 5 or 6 episodes. And the unfiltered that he does on weekends, I didn't even try to catch up on that he does his Fox show on Saturday night, because it's the same thing over and over and over again. So it was talking about,
well, there you go.
Yeah, the trial and all that shit. So I didn't want to hear it. So I just didn't, I've been limited I've gotten rid of 2 or 3 today. I got rid of 3 apps on my phone
Oh wow.
that
Okay.
sent me news feeds like every hour. You know, boo, boo,
That's it,
and
man. They're
it's
trying
like
to
yeah,
keep
I'm
you
out.
engaged, right?
I'm
They're trying
out.
to keep you going.
App trash. Thank you. Delete, uninstall, whatever you need to do. Stop.
So something that is humorous, you're getting out of certain apps, and I'm about to get back into one for this podcast specifically, the Life in General podcast with Tom and Jay Facebook page. I'm going to try to get that set up here in the very near future, and then
Cool.
I'll also be putting links down below in the description of where you can go to like the page, become a fan of the page. I'll have to figure out how to make that group become a thing, and
Right.
then we'll also be posting videos out there. So if you get a friend request from this podcast, just you'll know, hey, it's us, and it's not anybody who's spoofing us or anything like that. And then
Right.
we'll be able to reach more and more folks. And hey, tell your friends out there. We love you all, and it is fantastic that you're all out here being with us. And like, comment, and subscribe. Appease the overlords. Mess with the algorithms. Make sure that we're still being shown and done everything throughout the YouTube universe. As soon as we can, I'm going to try to make us get on Apple Podcasts, because that was something that was kind of interesting. One of our recent subscribers tried to go to Apple or iTunes podcasts first, and I said, whoa, 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 no, we're just on YouTube right now, so we're going to try to get onto other platforms as well when we can. So that is something that should be coming hopefully in the near future. So
When we graduate.
yeah, once we get through kindergarten here, we'll try to get into grade school and join other platforms and stuff, and then we'll see what's happening. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about, good sir?
Oh, I'm good, man. I'm good. It's been fun.
Yes, sir. As always, happy Thanksgiving to all you all out there. This should be coming out tomorrow, so it will be Turkey Day when you can. I'll need to put this on when I go to the places that I'm going, and they'll just keep hearing like, comment, and subscribe at the end of throughout the video. Maybe some subliminal messages. I'll be able to say, hey, did you over there? Did you let the turkey? Oh, and did you click the like button and whatnot? So do all that shenanigans. So thank you all again so much for watching. Happy Thanksgiving to all you out there who do celebrate it, and enjoy time with your family and friends, and be safe out there, and we will see you next time.
See you.